Hello and a very warm welcome to Money Control. We are more than halfway through the great India's general election. And in a little over than 2 weeks, India will have a new government. Well, today we are here in conversation with one political leader who himself has fought a fierce political battle with a Congress stalwart in a Congress bastion. He has been at the forefront of driving India's tech revolution, and he is the corporate face of the Indian government. Please welcome Mr. Rajeev Chandrashekar. Mr. Chandrasekhar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shweta, for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Let me begin by congratulating you for holding a very successful event in Delhi where you had the who's who of the India's tech universe coming and endorsing the Modi government. How did you manage that? This is the first time we've seen something like this.
I don't think it took that much of doing. I think these are all young, champions of this new India story. And you are aware as much as anybody else that over the last 10 years, one of the defining outcomes of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's governance has been the enabling, catalyzing of this innovation ecosystem. And as a consequence, all of these young first generation entrepreneurs who have not just dared to dream but have in a lot of ways, because of government policies, been able to fulfill their dreams. And these are now all global names. If you look at the young talented founders of all these unicorns and startups today in our country, these are today names that are being recognized the world over for what they have built, the scale, the size, the innovation that is on display here. So I think they in a lot of ways represent the future, the present, the future of India. And having them come into one forum and talk about how this government over the last 10 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has enabled them to dream and to fulfill those dreams and make these compelling, successful stories in terms of brands and enterprises, I think was a good way to talk about the last 10 years of transformation.
So this led to a lot of ripples, and the Congress party has come out and slammed this event, and they have come out to say that they themselves had invited the startup founder, the startups community to discuss the issues, but none of them showed up, and they've come out on Twitter to say this.
Look, I don't like being dragged into or pulled down into the bottom trawling that the Congress is very famous for. They may have a point of view and they may be, let us say, resentful that they are not part of the success story, and that the people of India have shown them in 2014 that their type of politics where they encourage crony capitalism, they encourage people who are connected to them vis-a-vis credit, opportunities. That is not the India that people of India want. They want, the youngsters of India want a government, a policy framework, a leader that allows them to dream and in a lot of ways enables those dreams to come true. This is about 180 degrees as far away from the Congress's way of looking at the economy and entrepreneurship as you can get. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has created an ecosystem where a young, unconnected, no political godfather, no famous last name can dare to dream and build a business. And the Congress party, as you remember, in 2012, I brought this to the Parliament's attention, presided over a regime where 97% of the banking system's net worth was cornered by 9 groups in this country. So there was not even credit or capital available for the youth of India. So if they are resentful, it is because the train has left them far behind. And it's fine, it's election season, they can say what they want, and they can be ripples or non-ripples or whatever it is that the Congress is famous for. But I don't think anybody bothers about that.
So you're saying that the train has left them far behind. We are more than halfway through the election, 5 phases are done, and there is a separate narrative that's playing out in New Delhi. There's a separate narrative that's playing out across social media platforms. What is your sense so far in the kind of voting turnout that we've seen, the kind of the campaign that the BJP and the Congress is running? What's your sense in terms of
I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, and I don't think anybody in India today who's a voter and who's not a congressman has any doubt in their mind about the result on June 4th. It is going to be an emphatic mandate. and it is going to be a mandate that is going to be deeper and more significant than 2019 because of the work that Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has done in very, very difficult circumstances, including but not limited to COVID. So I think the people of India know very clearly that whose leadership they want, and the 4th of June will clearly establish that there is going to be a deeper, more decisive mandate for Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Now, narrative, social media can be weaponized, misinformation. You've seen what the Congress party tried to do with our Home Minister Amit Shah ji's videos. So this is all normal strategy for the opposition to try and distract or try and put a brake on the momentum of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and the BJP by creating these, let us say, psychological operation type narratives.
Okay.
The BJP is facing headwinds. Oh, they are working so hard. But there is not even a commonsensical view, even for a moment, anybody looking at this, that anybody in this country will vote for the Congress or has any reason to do anything but to give a much more significant mandate to Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji simply because of the work he has done for the last 10 years. So this is all par for the course. They will put this out, fake surveys, fake opinion polls. They did this in 2019. There was a famous joker in the Congress who put out this survey who said that the Congress is going to get this decisive majority in 2019. And what happened? They were stuck at 50 seats.
So why do you think are the markets reacting the way they are? They're a bit jittery.
Look, misinformation, disinformation, fake narratives, people do react. Everybody is not a detailed political analyst. Everybody is not sitting in Mumbai or wherever and traveling the country. They get bits and pieces of information, and some people get swayed by that kind of a strategy of the opposition parties. But most people, and certainly it is clear to me that the voters of the country are not impacted by that at all. I think there is a certain segment, or whether it's media or certain class of business or whatever you call the markets or stock market. The stock markets today have reached $5 trillion.
Right.
Yeah, so in the last 17 days, they've added $1 trillion in market capitalization. So I don't think anybody who's looking at the future of India, who's betting on the future of India, has any doubt about who's going to lead, which is the government, what are the policies, what is going to be the momentum of India. Of course, look, we are 1.2 billion Indians. It's not anybody's case that all 1.2 billion Indians are marching in lockstep, and there will be always these kinds of narratives. And in my opinion, the Congress's attempts to create this fake narrative, or the India Alliance's attempt to create the fake narrative, reveals something, is even more revealing than people understand. They understand this momentum of growth and people's support for the BJP puts at risk. It's almost an existential threat for them. So if they don't slow that down somehow, and since they don't have any competing governance strategy, they don't have any competing policies to slow it down, the only thing they can do is to use misinformation and disinformation, and I go so far as to say lies, to try and slow down the growth of the BJP, because this time around, and they know, the BJP is going to grow even in the south of India.
Right. So I was going to come to that. So you fought a very spirited election in Thiruvananthapuram, and we'll have the results very soon. But my compliments to you for running a very positive campaign.
Yes.
Also, you had a very daunting task to take on Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who's it's his bastion, it's his territory. I want to get a sense from you on how will the BJP fare in the southern states, because it's the south has been a bit wary of Prime Minister Modi. They have not, his popularity is not as high in the south as compared to the northern parts of the country. What was the sense that you got?
No, I think more than daunting of any particular person, and that is really again a figment of people's imagination. None of these people that we think who have won 3 times in Kerala or 2 times in Kerala are daunting personalities because they've done some work. These are all people, it is very clear if you just go beneath the surface, they are surviving because for many, many years and decades, they have almost been given a free pass by 2 or 3 communities in the south.
Okay.
The Muslim community continues to give them a free pass, despite the fact that these people don't do anything for them. The Christian community too, in some parts, also give them a free pass in the name of secularism. Now, why do they give a free pass? For decades, they have been poisoned. Their minds have been poisoned. A fake narrative about the BJP being an exclusionary party, being an anti-minority party, has been fed to them. And I saw this time in my elections as well, that despite the fact that large numbers of Congress MPs have done nothing for their constituency and have absolutely zero, I'm not even exaggerating, have done little or nothing, no work for their constituents, and people continue to suffer, people continue to be left behind, whether it's jobs, whether it's investments, whether it is skilling, whether it's education, that they continue to get these votes. And I think in these elections you will see a turning point, that even those so-called vote banks that these people have assiduously cultivated through poisoning their minds, feeding them this rhetoric and lies, are beginning to shift, beginning to open their eyes to what the reality is. That India is progressing, and so they must progress too. That young Indians all over the country are getting so many opportunities that their children should also get these opportunities. So I think, and I certainly don't want to second guess the 4th of June result, I think in the south of India you will see the BJP, as our Honorable Home Minister has said, emerge the largest national party.
Okay, can we get a number on the seats that you're
Look,
expecting?
I have gone out of my, on a limb and predicted that we have 29 Lok Sabha seats in the south, that we can be close to doubling it. I have gone out on a limb and saying this. Please don't come after me on the 4th if the number is not exact. But certainly, I am extremely confident amongst the national parties, the BJP will be the largest national party in the south of India. Okay.
So in the south of India, the southern parties and the Congress party has really redefined the model of freebies in terms of the doles and the freebies that have been given out, whether it's in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh or Karnataka. Plus, we've seen a lot of appeasement politics also play out. What was your challenge in countering that narrative?
No, it is not trivial. I think these appeasement, the vote banks that the Congress have cultivated, especially amongst the minorities, they have done over decades. And they have done this through consistent feeding of lies and poison to them over the years. Now, I'll give you an example. In Kerala, for example, this myth and fiction was spread actively by the Congress, directly by the Congress, not even by their third party surrogates, that the BJP will change the constitution if it gets 400 seats.
Yes, yeah.
Plain outright lie. But certainly gets a lot of people worried.
Yeah.
If you've already been predisposed and pre-exposed to this kind of poison, that the BJP is anti-minority. Then the same cast of characters in the Congress would go around saying the BJP would ban beef in Kerala. Nonsense.
So the BJP will not ban beef in Kerala?
Of course not. I mean, it is the BJP has absolutely no views on people's food habits. There is a certain view and constitutionally protected thing on cow slaughter, which some states are legislating and enacting. So then the third, I'm giving you a series of these lies that go to how they preserve and cultivate their vote banks. They would say, for example, churches are being destroyed in a particular northeastern state, without giving the full story that this is more of an ethnic, tribal conflict, and temples have been destroyed as much as churches have been destroyed. So this is a deliberate practice by people who otherwise pretend to be intellectuals and well-read and informed, but that the Congress adopts this strategy in the south of India to divide people. There is nothing about the India alliance that is at all unifying. If you see in Tamil Nadu, the DMK's whole strategy was about they are North Indians, we are South Indians, and the twain shall not meet, and we should never let them in. And that Annamalai, under his leadership, that myth and that is being demolished every day.
Okay.
Similarly in Kerala, similarly in Karnataka, you see a pattern. Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivkumar will try and split the Lingayat vote by saying, they tried this in 2018, the Lingayats are not Hindus.
Right.
So this is a deliberate, the British left, but they left their divide and rule strategy in the capable hands of the Nehru dynasty. And this is the game that they have played for several decades. And I think 24 election will show that that strategy, that game that is running its course. And that, like I said, the BJP will emerge as the largest national party in the south of India.
So, when it comes to the south, it votes very differently from the northern part of the country. Issues of nationalism don't really resonate to that extent as they do in the northern part of the country.
I will politely and respectfully disagree. I don't think that is the case. All of the issues that are relevant to any Indian, whether the Indian is in Delhi or in Uttar Pradesh or in Shillong or in Kohima or in Surat, resonate as much in Chennai and in Trivandrum and in Kasargod, everywhere. The issues are the same.
Was Ram Mandir an issue in the southern states?
Ram Mandir, in terms of Ram Mandir as an issue that Hindu faith has been blocked consistently by several decades of Congress party and Congress's alliances, is an issue for everybody. It is not so much about temple as a temple, but as a symbol of how appeasement politics has caused political parties of the kind of Congress to essentially keep these issues simmering for decades is an issue that is known to everybody. But the key issues, as in the north or the south or the east or the west, remain opportunities, development, jobs, investment, education, skilling, the future of your district, the future of your state, the future of our country, national security. All of these issues are relevant. The same issues of national security and terrorism that are relevant in, let us say, Uttar Pradesh or Maharashtra is relevant in Kerala as well.
Okay.
But for many, many decades, these have been deflected by, deliberately, but like I said, vote bank or divisive political rhetoric by the Congress and their partner parties like the DMK.
So, talking about narratives, now the issue of reservations and changes in the constitution has resonated across the country, whether it's Uttar Pradesh or Kerala or any of the southern states. This time around, one gets a sense that the national binding narrative of the BJP is missing. In 2019, if the narrative was about jobs and development, in 2014 it was an anti-corruption narrative that really resonated with people. But this time around, there's a sense that the narrative is a bit diffused.
Well, I'm not going to say yes or no to that. I think from our party's point of view, our goal or our narrative has been very clear. That the last 10 years of work that our Prime Minister has done has been unprecedented in the history of India in terms of the transformative effects, the benefits, how the country has moved forward from the fifth most fragile economy to the fifth largest, within striking distance of being the third largest economy in the world. So our narrative is about that. What has happened in the last 10 years when the people of India gave Narendra Modi ji an opportunity? Look, elections, Shweta, are about people giving opportunities to leaders and parties.
Right.
And the people of India have given opportunities repeatedly to the Congress, repeatedly to coalitions, and more recently between 2004 to 2015 to the Congress-led UPA government. And the people of India gave an opportunity to Narendra Modi ji in 2014. Which leader or which party did what with the opportunity is what really elections are about. And it is clear today, if you report card Narendra Modi ji's last 10 years and report card the Congress's 10 years or 65 years, it is clear as in, as clear as daylight that Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is the leader who has taken that opportunity and moved the country forward. He has now a vision and a determination, and he has almost reimagined the ambitions of Indians, saying we can in our lifetime, in the next 23 years, for a 5-year-old Indian today, they can aspire to grow up to become a citizen, a 28-year-old in a developed India. That is the communication. That we are today, never before in the history of India have we said we are going to be a developed nation in a short while. And that is the communication. That is the mission that the Honorable Prime Minister has put forth. The dream, the vision, his goal, that He has taken India from being the fifth most fragile economy, brought it here through his hard work, and he intends to take India forward to becoming a developed nation.
Okay.
On that, I think that communication, you can argue that the ads are not as many as the Congress ads, or the hoarding color should be different. That everybody has a point of view. But that core messaging is loud and clear, as I understand it, for us in the party and to the voters who are listening to and talking to us and whose votes we are asking for.
So there is a traditional BJP voter who will vote for the BJP, but there are the fence sitters who will probably decide while they're walking to the polling booth, right, who they're going to vote for. In terms of BJP's messaging, a lot of it is directed towards countering the Congress narrative, and from whatever I see right now, and not getting that fence, the voter that's sitting on the fence or that first-time voter, to come out and vote for the party.
No, again,
which was done very well in 2014.
No, I think that there is a difference between 19 and 24 that I want to point out. The 19, the Congress and the India Alliance's misinformation campaign was not as deep and well organized as 2024.
Okay.
So what you see as reacting to the Congress or the India Alliance is the need for the truth to prevail at a time where misinformation can go viral and create havoc. The Congress and the India Alliance today, their entire strategy is built around misinformation. So huge daubs of lies mixed in with a bit of truth and then making it go viral. So that is the strategy. If you look at it from day one to today, they have not put forth even one proposition for the future of India. They have not put forth even one proposition that will change your life or your child's life or build a better future for a child. They have talked about freebie, which I call lazy politics, which is to say, I will take your tax money and I will spend it recklessly without any regard to the corruption that will follow in its wake and the hope that I will get your vote that way. But there is not one word they have said about the future of India, the future of Indians, the future of the youth. Instead, they will dabble with this they are dabbling with and using this strategy of misinformation. Now, when you are confronted with that as a political party or as a political person, as a candidate, you have no option but to react. Now, I will tell you my own experience. 5-7 days into my campaign in Tirunelveli, the Congress morphs an image and puts me in a photograph with the wife of a CPM leader and says the BJP and the CPM are coming close together, are in an alliance. Absolute false. For which we have to file a criminal case. I have to give a statement. Then 10 days later, the so-called intellectual candidate there says, I am paying money. Or he's quoted in the media saying that I am paying money to get votes.
Right.
And so then what do? You don't sit around and say the people will decide whether it's true or false. You have to respond. So when politics becomes a process where one faction or one grouping is totally relying on lies and misinformation, the BJP and the NDA have to defeat the lie with the truth. And so that is what you see as being responsive.
Okay.
And that is because they have decided to play negative politics, they have decided to play a politics of lies, and the BJP is not going to sit around and say, we'll allow that lie to go viral and then respond 10 days later.
So I want to talk about the misinformation campaign that you've been talking about, deep fakes, the rise of deep fakes, Mr. Amit Shah's video that
my own photograph,
your own photograph. Do you feel that in terms of regulations, India or the government was on the back foot where this was concerned? Did you not see this coming?
No, we saw this coming. We have IT rules. I think this is, look, the elections are not for the government to do anything. It's for the Election Commission. The party has gone, put the representation as a party in front of the Election Commission. Individual candidates have put it in front of
But could we have had regulations before the election?
But we have regulations. We have regulations. We have the IT rules that forbid deepfakes and prescribe prosecution for those who use misinformation. under 505, under 495, under 469, all of that is there. But obviously, during an election, it is for the election commission to do that. Right. It is not for the candidate to do that. It is certainly not for the government to do it. So that is something that the party has repeatedly brought to the attention of the election commission. The election commission, in my opinion, has, in a sense, belatedly put out this advisory to all the parties, saying that if you do misinformation, especially in the wake of what happened with Home Minister Amit Shah's video,
right,
that you can be prosecuted under so and so sections of the CRPC. And we have seen that has slowed down. That the deep fake manipulation of videos and photographs and images, that has slowed down on the part of the Congress at the current moment. But verbalizing lies, misinformation, disinformation continues. Now, how many times and who will go and prosecute all the Congress leaders who say lies? I mean, you'll have to prosecute the entire party. I mean, that's their entire strategy seems to be every day wake up and say a new lie. So it is a peril, but I think for all democratic societies all around the world, this is becoming an increasingly big challenge.
So this is a challenge that has emerged greatly in this 2024 election.
Absolutely, and I think it is going to be faced by. There are many countries that are going to go to elections in 2024.
Right.
The US is going, West Germany is going, UK is going. I think all of these countries, democratic, open societies where free speech is protected by law, will increasingly have to deal with this challenge. And what do you do when somebody says a blatant lie,
right,
and that goes viral?
So there was talk of setting up a fact-checking unit, which faced a lot of pushback at the central government level. But Karnataka
I think in a lot of ways, what is playing out is a vindication of all of what we said as a government prior to the election. That misinformation can be weaponized, will be weaponized, and that we have to figure out a way to be able to label what is patently wrong, what is patently false. And we argued that case when it went up to the High Court. It was allowed, and then the Supreme Court has obviously intervened in it and scrutinizing it. But misinformation is a problem,
right,
and is going to be increasingly a problem. Is increasingly going to be weaponized by parties who want to create chaos in democratic societies, who have no other agenda, who cannot compete.
Deep fakes is,
and who cannot compete on the basis of ideas. They will only do this.
So will this lead to maybe tighter regulations going forward? Are there any lessons that we've taken from this election in terms of deep fakes? And
I think it is not about tighter regulations as much as enforcement. Of the regulation. The regulations are there, the framework is there. You can argue that you need to dot some more I's and cross some more T's in the regulation. And that is the nature of the game. Regulations will continue to evolve and continue to grow. But it is not so much about that as much as enforcement. And I think we have to figure out a way of how to enforce this. Especially when there is absolutely patently false facts being put out there during a critical process like election. Especially when foreign interests are meddling in our elections. And especially when democracies like ours, because of the nature of our democracy, open liberal democracy, are vulnerable to this type of meddling. We certainly need to all sit down and think and talk about how to strengthen our democracy on one hand, but also protect our democracy from being meddled with.
So does this make our job tougher? Because all the big social media giants are run and operated by companies that are not Indian.
Of course.
Does this make your job tougher?
It makes it tougher in the sense that a lot of these companies have for many years believed their laws prevail, their community guidelines and their rules and supersede the domestic law. But over the last 3 years, I think we have very gently, firmly and clearly pushed back on that delusion. That this is India, this is a democracy. Everybody today in India lives and thrives on the rule of law. And whether you are a foreign company or an Indian company, you are subject to the laws of India when you service or serve a customer or a corporate in India. So that fact has become known to them. Like you said earlier, there is probably an argument that the laws must become clearer, the laws must become much more forward-looking, and the laws must be enforced.
So could we look at an enforcement agency like a...
I don't know. I don't know, Shweta, and I certainly don't want to, before the next government, second guess what the next government will do.
Sure. So the Congress has said in its manifesto that they will bring an employment-linked scheme, which will be different from the production-linked incentive scheme. What is the sense that you're getting? Because the Congress has constantly countered the PLI scheme, and will we see an upgraded version of the scheme when once the new government...
Congress has countered every scheme. I mean, so I don't think Congress countering any scheme is any great headline news. So they'll counter us becoming the fastest growing economy in the world because I heard their ideologue say we are the fastest growing economy in the world because we are the largest country. So this is par for the course, and Rahul Gandhi, Raghuram Rajan and that group can say what they want. We are focused today on a very fundamental, our Prime Minister is focused on making sure our economy is well diversified, is not just about service economy, that we also have a very robust manufacturing economy, because manufacturing economy creates a lot of low-level jobs, has an indirect catalyst effect on another service economy that supports the manufacturing economy. And for pre-2014, India was almost absent from the global supply chains and the GVCs. And today we are seeing India grow, and there was a recent Forbes article as well, where India's presence on the global supply chain now people are waking up to. So every global brand today, for example, in my domain of electronics, is today setting up shop in India to do R&D and manufacturing. So Cisco is here, Apple is here, Samsung is here. All of these companies are setting up manufacturing centers here. We have to get more and more competitive, and we have to, as a country, gain a larger and larger market share of the global manufacturing supply chain.
So taking this thought forward of becoming more and more competitive, I just want to echo some of the concerns that were raised at the Dinner Pe Charcha event. One was tax. A lot of people did raise concerns about an overzealous tax administration. Second was ease of doing business. Is there something that we can expect or look forward to if the BJP forms?
Look, I must tell you something about, you've seen this in the last 10 years. When the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji sets a goal and says this is what we need to achieve, everything that requires to be done to achieve that gets done.
Okay.
So it's not, we don't make these Garibi Hatao type of promises for 65 years and then at the 66 years say that it didn't happen. The Prime Minister says we have to increase our market share in global manufacturing, for which our logistics costs and logistics efficiencies have to improve. That is why you have Gati Shakti. That our taxation and customs duty regime needs to improve. That is why you saw for the first time in this budget the signal that we are pivoting from an import substitution manufacturing country to an export-led manufacturing country.
Right.
So this is stuff that we will do. Some of the questions, some of the points that were raised are points that have been understood. We have noted it. We are very responsive as a government and we will act on it. So,
an angel tax?
Look, these are all areas. I know this is a favorite topic of Moneycontrol as well. I certainly...
Well, it's a favorite topic of startups.
Startups as well. Because you represent the startup community very well. So, I think that is an area that post June 4th, the Honorable Finance Minister will certainly give a deep look to. Okay.
Is the Union government looking at building a foundational AI model that can be used by companies and
Look, the India AI mission has been approved by the government. It's 10,000 crores of direct government funding. And there will be, in our opinion, private sector capital that will come, which will be in equal amount. So we are talking about about 20,000 crores out of investment into the AI without the other investments coming into the India AI, which creates the compute infrastructure that are required. And our focus is really not so much about creating LLMs and foundational models as much as creating use cases that will take the power of AI to users and citizens directly. So governance, agriculture, health, medicine discovery. These are the areas that we are going to focus on with these centers of excellence.
Okay.
That the India AI mission thinks of. But should we not have large language models in our Indian languages? Should we not have our own large language model? I certainly will not be a person who will say no to it. But in terms of the government resources being directed in a particular direction, the government resources will be directed in creating these building blocks that will help and create an impact on the citizens of the country with the power of AI. So, for example, clearly the India stack, our governance, digital governance (DPI), will see a lot of AI applications being built around that. In the healthcare segment, we will see centers of excellence being funded by the government in that. In agriculture, very, very close to Prime Minister's heart, we want to bring in more and more AI for crop efficiencies, weather prediction, all of that to help farmers. So think clearly that our focus is going to be on that.
Okay.
But the ecosystem will certainly allow all types of innovation in AI to flourish, because our ambition is that India must and can and must become one of the leading nations that will shape the future of AI in regulation, in innovation, and in terms of these big, large models.
Okay. Will we also see a successor to the semiconductor scheme?
Yes, certainly. I think what we have seen in terms of response to the semiconductor policies has been very significant and very positive. And while we've had about less than $10 billion allocated initially, we think there is going to be, and our Honorable Prime Minister has already signaled that he's open to it, to creating a second pool of capital to further grow the semiconductor manufacturing, semiconductor design, and semiconductor research ecosystem.
Any broad contours of the scheme?
Look, these are things that will get discussed in public anyway. I think we can wait till the 4th of June and then talk about it.
Sure.
But 4th of June, certainly a lot of the people who are today talking about misinformation will be disappointed. So we'll involve them also in these conversations.
Sure.
Thank you.
So my last question, we just heard Prashant Kishore talk about how BJP could in fact up its tally from 2019. I wanted to get your thoughts in on that, and I also wanted to get a sense on where are you expecting BJP to make some gains and where are you expecting BJP to cut some losses, if at all?
Right. So I'm not a big fan of Prashant Kishore, or nor do I subscribe to many of the things that he does, but certainly the logic that he puts out there is absolutely compelling and clear, that there is really significant growth of the BJP in the south of India there and in the east of India. You can see that in Orissa, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Kerala. All of these things are only going to be net additions for the BJP. And then in the north and in the west, even if there is around the edges or on the periphery some minor seats losses, they're not going to be material. So the common sense mathematics tells me, and I'm not a very great deep political analyst, tells us that we will be north of the 303 number. Whether we'll be closer to 350 or closer to 400 as NDA, that June 4th will tell us. But the leaders on the ground who are really working very hard are all extremely optimistic of being very close to the 400 number as NDA, not as BJP. So I have to share that with you. But in terms of where clearly we are going to gain, I think we are going to gain in UP. I think we are going to gain in Orissa. We are going to gain significantly in West Bengal. It's very clear we are going to gain in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana very significantly. We are going to gain in Tamil Nadu, and hopefully we will gain in Kerala. Yeah, and as far as Karnataka is concerned, we are going to be more or less status quo of the 24-25 seats that we had in 2019, give or take one or two, because we are now in alliance
Right.
with the JDS. So I see us certainly being very significantly north of the 2019 numbers, which is consistent with what I feel, that the people of India are going to give Narendra Modi ji a much more significant mandate even compared to 2019, which, by the way, if you remember, was a better mandate than 2014.
Right.
So this is consistent with the kind of work he has done, that the people of India will respond accordingly.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Chandrasekhar.
Thank
It
you,
was a
Shweta.
pleasure talking to
Thank
you,
you.
and all the very best for June 4th.
Thank you.
Thank you.